The meeting of the Kuli'ou'ou Kalani Neighborhood Board will come to order. Aloha mai kako. Welcome everyone. And thank you for joining us tonight and helping to make our community a better place. We first take our city and state monthly reports, starting with our first responders. Do we have the Honolulu Fire Department, a representative from our fire department online? Okay, they usually come in person, so let us go straight to our police department, and because I see that we have Lieutenant on line. Hello.
Hi, good evening. Lieutenant Thompson. I'll start with the 8 thefts and 1 unlawful automobile. The safety tip for the month is holiday safety tips. Staying safe at home. Remember to lock all doors and windows. Don't display gift boxes or gifts that can be seen through an open window. Write down serial numbers of expensive items such as televisions, stereo equipment, and take photographs of jewelry and other expensive items. Check smoke alarm batteries and place them if necessary. Make sure your Christmas tree is safe. Real trees should not lose green needles when you tap it on the ground. Make sure the tree is never near an open flame such as a candle. And check the water level every day and dispose of the tree properly. Safety while shopping. When arriving at the mall, attempt to park in busy, well-lit areas. If you need to park away from the mall, seek a spot that's on a well-traveled roadway. Always lock your car windows and doors, even if you're gone only for a few minutes. When you return to your car, be sure to have your keys already out and in your hand. If you're going to store items in your car and continue shopping, make sure you look around to see if anybody's watching and conceal them out of view from their windows and such. Other tips can be found regarding holiday safety tips on honolulu.org. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to take them at this time.
Do we have any questions for our police officers? Wow. Okay. Thank you, sir, for giving your report. And we have a very quiet audience right now. I guess everything's going well and everyone's feeling safe. Thanks to you.
Great. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Okay. I don't see anyone from our fire department, so let's go with Jimmy Llanos from Board of Water Supply. Jimmy, come up to the mic.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Jimmy Llanos. I'll be representing Board of Water Supply tonight. I distributed some calendars for 2026 to the board members, and I also left some on the table in the back if anyone from the public wants. But starting with my main break report, there were 3 main breaks in the month of November. The first occurred on November 3rd. That was an 8-inch diameter pipe at 5637 Haleola Street. The second occurred on November 10th, and that was a 4-inch diameter pipe at 1818 Kumakani Place. And finally, the third one occurred on November 29th. That was an 8-inch diameter pipe at 474 Howe Street. So moving on to my general water announcements, I'm going to be talking about utility scams. The Board of Water Supply, BWS, reminds customers to stay vigilant for utility scams, especially during the holiday season. There are 4 key things to remember. 1, the BWS does not accept payment via gift cards, wire transfers, or app payments. 2, BWS will not call outside regular business hours, which is Monday through Friday, 7:45 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. 3, if you receive a suspicious call, ask for their name and number, hang up and call 808-748-5000, extension 2 to verify. Please note that the BWS never sends disconnection notices by text. And 4, if approached by someone claiming to be from the BWS, ask for their official ID. Staff wear BWS logo attire, drive marked vehicles, and carry a Seating County of Honolulu badge. And last general announcement, just a holiday conservation tip. Holiday gatherings and cooking can increase water usage. A simple reminder, turn off the tap while prepping food or scrubbing dishes. Remember, every drop counts. And that concludes my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Jimmy. Does anyone have questions for Jimmy for the Board of Water Supply? Any concerns relating to the water supply? Okay, I guess not. No, thank you very much, Jimmy, for being here, and thank you for the calendars and for your report.
Thank you. Everyone, hope you have a happy holidays.
You too. We will proceed to board business, which was intentionally kept a little short because we have some excellent presentations coming up this evening. So our first order of business is always our vacancies, because we need you to represent your community, and we have some sub-districts that are not represented. So is anyone here from Lower Wailaiki, Middle Wailaiki, Kainani, or the Wailupi Peninsula? No. Is anyone from Hawaii Lower Ridge, Niu Valley? Okay, well, think about it and talk to your neighbors, because we represent you, and without you coming forward and telling us what's happening in your neighborhood, we can't function the way we're supposed to. So thank you for considering joining us. All right, next we are just going to approve our minutes. So we had regular meeting minutes circulated from our last meeting on November 5th. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Okay, if there are no corrections, the minutes are approved. This is the part of our meeting where anyone who is joining us tonight can bring up their concerns, and it doesn't have to be on the agenda. Is there anyone here this evening that wants to come up, please?
Hello, I'm Sue Cowing, and this is Wendy White. And we have a project we want to tell you about that affects all the way from Diamond Head to the Kaiwi Coast. Our project is called Poetry from Ridge to Reef. And the object is to inspire people living in or passing through the Moanalua area to notice, value, and want to preserve its natural landscape and environmental treasures. We will install 2 temporary poetry post boxes designed by local artists at special points of interest around Moanalua's mountains, springs, valleys, and coastline, and encourage people to seek them out. The poems in them will celebrate the natural environment and will be chosen to connect easily with people who don't ordinarily read poetry. A postbox will remain 2 months in one place before moving on to another, and each will feature a new poem each week, mainly by Hawaii writers. Livable Moanalua Hui is enthusiastic about the project, and early in 2026, we hope to install the first box at the beautiful Keawava wetlands just off Hawaii Kai Drive, home of the critically endangered Hawaiian moorhen. And what we just want people to know about this, and we would like your suggestions, input, suggestions of places where we might put boxes. We're just beginning, but this is a long-term project we're committed to. We have several copies, about 5 copies of our detailed proposal, if anyone is interested. And you'll be hearing more from us, and I hope we'll be hearing from you as well. Thank you.
Oh, what a wonderful idea. For how long will the project be sustained?
So we're going to do a first year pilot, and we'll evaluate after that first year. our hope is we will also be able to engage some of the elementary schools in the Ahupa and get them to come and bring their students to see the box, then write poetry. And we'll be posting some of the student poetry alongside more well-known adult poets in the community. So 1 year for sure. And then if it, looks like we're really successful, we'll continue. Sue didn't share this, but she's been doing this for 5 years in front of her house on Niuiki Circle. Started during the pandemic when people were feeling very isolated and worrying and needed something to lift their spirits. And it's become, I don't know if anyone's ever seen her poetry box on the circle, but it's become a place where bike riders stop and get out and check it. The surfers, before they go out to surf off of Neo Beach, stop and read the poems, and they leave her gifts. And she's kept it going, I think, over 700 poems now.
Some sort of a neighborhood thing, and that's the hope that it can bring people closer to the environment.
Yeah, we got it.
Thank you.
Do you have to,
Yes,
do you have to get approval? Is this on
yes. there-
public land or
yes,
state land?
Yes, some will be, and the ideal thing is to find someplace on private land where we can just get.
Is it waterproof and?
Yes, absolutely waterproof. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
What
And
about
we-
what about vandalism and?
We can't worry about that, but we do, they will be very solid and installed, and we'll take charge of the installation and the removal. We have people involved in that.
Thank you.
So, thank you.
We'll also be checking once a week as we insert a new poem into the box. So we'll see if something's been damaged or vandalized.
Great, thank you.
Just can I ask one question of y'all?
Yeah.
Since we have this opportunity, if you have a place that you would suggest that we evaluate for a poetry box and someone we can connect with, please, our contact information is in that proposal. Get in touch with us and let us know. We want places where people are naturally coming out to enjoy the bay and will see the box. So thank you so much.
Can I ask a quick question?
Mhm.
Is there a website or?
No, we're just two poets doing something for the community. So,
So how can people find
so
what
what
the locations are?
Yeah, so that's why we're trying to partner with other organizations that have large social media presence, like Livable Moana Lua.
I see.
And we're also working with Balamo Moana Lua. We've
Okay,
been in conversation with them. And so they'll be getting the word out is the idea.
Perfect. Thank you.
How about the school? Would they allow it?
No, yeah, that's a good suggestion. Thank you.
Excuse me, are you going to post this opportunity on Nextdoor, on social media so that more people can see what you're doing and be inspired to create a poem themselves?
The next door is a great idea. Is that very well used in this neighborhood?
Yes.
Okay. Time to sign up.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Happy holidays. Okay. Would anyone like to raise a question or concern for this group, for the board, or for the representatives that are online with us today? Okay, let us go on to our, do we have someone raising their hand? I'm sorry. Stan, did you want to ask a question or bring up a problem? Okay, we'll go on. We will now go to our officials' reports. I may have been jumping ahead. First, the representative for Congressman Ed Case. Do we have a representative for Ed Case? No. Okay. Next, okay. Next we have the representative for Mayor Rick Blangiardi. She wasn't able to attend, but sent us some follow-up regarding the Anali'i Street light repairs and a building in Waikiki at 419 Seaside Avenue. Did all the board members receive that information? Okay. Is there anyone else? Okay, go ahead, Sherry.
Is that speaking? Can you hear?
It may have been turned
Now
on.
it's on? Okay. Since she's not here, maybe you might want to mention to the board and the TV that what's going to happen about the marathon if anyone complains.
I don't have information on the marathon here. Oh, great, Dave. Hello, officers, please come on up. Well, we're going through our officials' reports, and you certainly qualify as, in fact, you are our priority, and as just like you make us your priority.
Clarissa, can you answer what I just asked you?
Okay, hold on, let them speak.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for putting up with us late arrival. We just had a auto fire, so we got done with that. Came as soon as we could. Good evening to the members of the board and to all those in attendance. Thank you for having us. My name is Captain Alejandro Cisternas, and we're from the Wailupe Fire Station. And we have here the incidents, the statistics for the month of November. In November, we responded to 1 ocean rescue, 2 motor vehicle collisions, 2 activated fire alarms, and 34 medical emergencies. If you want more information on these incidents, you can visit our website at fire.honolulu.gov. Our fire safety tip. This holiday season, the HFD would like to remind the public to keep your family and friends safe by minimizing the risks from fire, from Christmas trees and fireworks. Dried Christmas trees, wreaths, and any other natural decorations, as soon as the holiday seasons, they dry up and they're extremely flammable. So we advise it's best to remove them from your home as soon as possible and even consider recycling your tree. And on Oahu, firecrackers are legal. However, they do require a permit. To purchase a permit, you can visit firesafehonolulu.com, or safer yet, leave the fireworks to the trained professionals and enjoy one of the public fireworks displays. Are there any questions from the board or anybody from the community?
Does anyone have questions for our fire department? I do not see any.
Okay. If you have further questions, you can email them to hfdnhb@honolulu.gov, and I'll leave my report here with you. And that's all we have. Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you for all that you do and for being there when we need you. Happy holidays. Okay. I'm sorry. Sherry, you had a question about the marathon.
Well, it's not necessarily a question. I was hoping you would share the information about what's happening and why the marathon people aren't here and what decision has come down, what you were just saying earlier.
The marathon people were invited to speak at this meeting, and they came last year to speak to us, and apparently they posted one of the race officials at one of the intersections and briefed the police that were helping to maintain traffic. And apparently there was interference by a member of the public who said unkind things to the race representative and who tried to direct pedestrian and car traffic and put the reputation of the marathon committee at stake and public safety at stake. So therefore, the race committee wants it known that if any member of the public interferes with the actions of the police officers and the race and the race safety officials that they may be arrested. And this is for the safety of the runners as well as the policemen and to maintain a good race that is fairly run. So there is information that they posted online about the race and the course and the timing. So you are all welcome to look at that. And I'm sure there's going to be more said about it when the it's coming up this week or next week, pretty soon, but they're good about posting notices.
But one question is, what intersection did that happen at? And do they have any information about who did that they felt so threatened?
Yes, they did have information on who it was. And I don't remember what intersection it was, but they said it, mentioned one of our board members. And I do not want to carry this conversation here in public. This is between the board, but this is a board matter. So I'd
Well,
like to end this.
I'd
here.
like to say publicly, I'm feeling an inference here. I never left my house. So if you're talking about a board member, I think you better be careful because I did not leave my house.
Okay, that was,
And that's bordering on slander.
I see.
So,
I'm a board member. I didn't leave my house either.
Yeah, okay.
Their house.
so it's, if the police need to come out and talk to what's happening, it doesn't affect me.
Mhm.
Our community, all the communities, even Dave Day said his community is affected by it. The governor's rep, they're not let out. And the police turn their back to the community and don't come in and talk, and the signs aren't in the proper place. So that's why I was asking the board every year, the race people to come to the board every year and talk to the board. I'm watching football happily. I don't even bother to try and go to church on Sunday because I know we can't get out. It's the community that's being affected. And I'd love to hear someone say, I left the house and interfered with them, because that's slander. So
Well,
anyways,
police-
the police are not dealing with the public. They're turning their backs on them and going out in the highway. And, even Dave Day asked me, if you can find anything out, he'd love to know too. So I don't know why all of a sudden they're becoming a royal court out there when it's the race and it's the community and they have to work together. And it doesn't affect me. I'm happily watching football.
Well, can you please let the community know that
I'm not.
no,
No, it's the
I mean-
job of the police and the paper and the marathon. They're supposed to send out notices.
Mhm.
The community needs to know that if they complain out there, because they do, they're going to be arrested.
Mhm.
Well, you better let them know.
That's
I'm
what
not going to let them know. It's crazy.
To clarify, is it to complain is going to make you
No,
arrested,
no,
or
if they
just make a
physically
physical-
interfere and
make it-
and don't obey the directions of the police officer and the police
can
officers
attest-
and the safety officials that are part of the race staff.
Yeah, I think that's an important point to clarify.
Oh,
just wanna make
yes.
Sure.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Stephanie Spangler, Wildlife Golf Course Community Association. I was out at the intersection or Ellie Street with a group of other residents. And I had asked our community to view the neighborhood board meeting that the marathon people attended so they could be versed in what was going to happen. What did happen, we had the guy there, the guy that was there. But when we were asked, we asked the police, per the sign, at this certain time, you're supposed to let the cars through when the crowd dies down, okay? Well, something new happened last year that not even the marathon people, the police or the other guy knew about. They put barricades in the middle of the highway between the westbound and the eastbound. The police they said, we're not touching it. So our community was asking, would you please move the barricades so we can let the cars through? No, that's not for us to do. That is for GP Roadway to do. They're out in Hawaii Kai waiting to get the call to start coming along the highway and take the barricades away. They were brand new. The marathon did not tell us about that. So that guy that was here representing the marathon misrepresented everything that he said by saying, yes, they would try and work with getting the community out. Community was up in arms saying, you told us this, you told us that, we watched it on TV, we understood what our rights were going to be. And that didn't happen. So we were hoping this year that we could get an explanation from the marathon, what they were going to do about the barricades being removed so that the police would be able to usher the cars through at an appropriate time. And now they're accusing our community and residents and Sheridan Spangler of, I don't even know what they said behind everyone's back, but they are shining everyone on. They've been doing that for years. And I'm really upset that they didn't come here to address it. They just, I think they're through with addressing it. They are the big kingpins of the island. And we, the public, have no rights. We tried to mitigate, negotiate, work it out, didn't we? Weren't we pleasant last year trying to figure out ways to make it work? And then we're lied to. And that's unexcusable. Thank you.
No names were mentioned, but they thought it was somebody that was related that had a connection with the sport. So. Okay. Okay. That's a very good alibi. All right. Well, they don't want any trouble this year. They just want to run a race and a safe race. Okay. We will go on. So next we have Governor Josh Green's representative, Dave Day, who is here in person. Hi, Dave. Oh, happy holidays.
Came straight from work. Good to see everybody. It's been a while since I came in person, and it's good to see everybody. Again, happy holidays. Dave Day, Special Assistant to the Attorney General, resident of Kuli'ou'ou Valley. And so thank you for representing me. There's a couple of questions that came up on the last meeting. I'm just going to report back on. The first one I think has largely resolved, but I would like to just kind of address it because it was something that was addressed regarding SNAP. And of course, we all know the issues with SNAP from during the government shutdown. And there was a question that was raised. I can't recall the member who spoke about the $250 that would be provided to SNAP recipients during the shutdown. And so I have a statement here from the governor's office. The governor's team, the Department of Human Services, and partners have worked expeditiously to get vital assistance to Hawaii's SNAP participants with the targeted date of November 14th. However, they were able to complete the funding of relief funds for a full 4 days earlier than expected, and the recipients, including people in our community, received the extra funding of $250 in their accounts as of November 10th. So that was one of the questions I believe it was phrased last year is when, or last time is when the funding would come. So it was November 10th. The additional funding was made available by the state through the Hawaii Emergency Food Assistance Program, following the federal government announcement that SNAP benefits would cease on November 1st. This program provided $250 per person in a SNAP-approved household to help families purchase groceries and essential food items during the challenging period. Although the program uses the same EBT card system as SNAP, it is not SNAP. It is a separate state-funded program designed specifically to support families during the federal shutdown. No application was required. Households that were approved for November 2025 SNAP benefits as of the standard processing cutoff date of October 28th, 2025, automatically received these benefits. And that was the report. And so that was basically in relation to the timing of that additional assistance during that specific period during the shutdown. The second question that was raised concerned the Elections Commission. And there was a resolution that the Election Commission had adopted at some point, I believe it was like a month or two ago, regarding mail-in voting. And there was a question about the governor's office's position with respect to mail-in voting. And I have a statement here from the governor's office. Mail-in voting is authorized by Hawaii law. and that's there's a specific provisions just for the record. HRS section 11-101 to 11-110. I'm sorry, I'm a lawyer. I had to say that. The elimination of mail-in voting would require legislative action. Governor Green remains in support of the people of Hawaii to cast their votes in all lawful ways, including mail-in voting. So basically the essence of the question was whether the commission decision impacted anything. And the question is under the law, the answer is no. Beyond that, I am here to answer your questions.
Dave, did families who are eligible for SNAP benefits receive them promptly once the shutdown ended?
Yes, in fact, I have kind of intimate knowledge of this because there was substantial litigation involved relating to SNAP that was filed by the state of Hawaii. One of the things was there was some, near the end, there was kind of a lot of changing circumstances. Basically by, I believe it was November 7th, all SNAP cards, or I think it was the vast majority of SNAP cards were loaded with full benefits for November as of November 7th of this month. And then since the shutdown, basically everything, or since the shutdown ended, everything is back to normal operating procedures as I understand them.
Great. Yes, please go ahead, Bill.
And towards the end, a lot of thoughts, downtowns are inundated. People trying to vote for that.
So, so I can speak for the Department of the Attorney General here. I can't speak for the governor. Of course, the governor would I believe share these views. Is that the Department of the Attorney General investigates all cases of alleged voter fraud, and voter fraud, it remains illegal under state law and is prosecuted when it is investigated and discovered.
Were there anybody get arrested?
I'm not aware of the specific instance that you're speaking of, but of course, if there's specific something in the news, I'm sure that that would be something that would be looked at. And if there are complaints that should be made with respect to voting, I believe that the Elections Commission handles those, or the Office of Elections, and that complaints can be made there.
Yes, we have a question for you from Sherry.
I was hoping through the governor's office, because the highway is state. I know the marathon is a city-state in
I
conjunction.
believe it's a state highway.
Yeah, it's a state highway, but they work in conjunction with the city. I was hoping the governor's office could see that someone could put an article out in the paper. I can't notify people. I'm not the press. So I was hoping maybe you could, through the governor's office, see that some little short blurb is put out, that people be warned of what the restrictions or new rules or protocols or whatever, because people are upset. And like I said, I'm watching football, so I'm happy, but I think people need to know, and maybe the governor could facilitate that.
Sure. I can raise this. I believe the marathon's this Sunday. Oh, is it the 15th? Oh, so it's not this Sunday, but the Sunday after, is that right? And so the question is whether or not basically some sort of notification could go out. I'll see. I'll raise this. I don't have any control over that, but I'll see. I'll note that there are concerns about people who live along Kalani on Ole Highway, and I believe that your concerns relate to access. Is that right, or to
Exit, egress? Because
Yeah.
we have a lot of doctors in our neighborhood, and I don't know about the rest of the corridor, but I know that other elected officials have called me to complain and have me do something about it. And I know we've tried. So I'm hoping that the governor can get through some PR company, just put a little blurb in the paper of what the new protocols are. So people know.
I'll absolutely raise this concern. And as someone who lives on Kalani on Ole Highway, just in my personal capacity, I understand the issues related to the egress.
People
So
are imprisoned. Thank you.
Yes, come on up. So we can hear you. Thank you.
Yeah. Dave. Oh, Nicole, I'm
I
sorry.
was just trying to take.
Yeah, I know. It's on TV. Look, we're on TV. All right. So anyway, what I'd like to see is if you could find out what our legal rights are. If we go and say, if the marathon says, we're going to work with you last year, and let you out between 11 and 12. And so I go to the community and say between 11 and 12, we're going to be given an egress, we're going to be able to exit. They don't do that. And the marathon was here and said that they would do that for us. But they didn't. And we need to know our legal rights. Nobody touched anybody. Nobody tried to control traffic. So I have no idea what these guys are trying to spin. Okay. I'm very upset about what Clarissa just read about what the marathon said. We need to know our rights to have the marathon fulfill their mitigated promises.
So I must plead
Thank you.
ignorance about exactly what they said beyond what was this, but yeah, but I can say that I expressed last year as well the frustrations with respect to the marathon, and I'll express the renewed frustrations with respect to egress, and see if there's anything. I don't know actually who has control over these types of things, but that's something that I will try to find out. Okay.
Okay, so I did post the traffic questions information on the Google Drive. So if you do for race day traffic only questions, you can actually contact 808-221-9534. Again, the number is 808-221-9534.
Okay. Yes, Mecca.
Hi, Dave. Mecca Mansingir. I had was wondering if there are any updates or information you could give us on Hawaii possibly joining 15 other states with the Massachusetts versus Trump case for gender affirming care. And if there were any, I feel like they've been putting together stories and things like that, but I didn't know if there was any progress in it moving forward in us joining them.
Okay, so the Department of the Attorney General is currently part of approximately 36 lawsuits. I'm trying to recall now the.
You back to us.
Yeah, sure. And so, and I'm counsel in record in all of them. I can't. So we have several cases relating to these issues. I can't recall if that one specifically is one that we've joined or not joined. I know that there is one case involving that medical care that we have. Is it your understanding that Hawaii is not a plaintiff in that case?
I understand that they're getting information and they're getting stories and people that are willing to testify and come forward so that they can have enough to join the 15 other states in this case, that Massachusetts.
There's several cases called with that name. So I don't recall off the top of my head, but I will.
Specific to gender affirming care. Yeah. But fair that there's many. Thank you.
Dave, are you ready for another question? Still writing. You're next here, Lonnie. Hold on. He's writing.
Thank you.
Okay. Go ahead here, Lonnie. Do you have a question for Dave Day?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Okay, so the president came out saying yesterday, I think it was, that he's going to withhold SNAP benefits for Democratic-led states who withhold immigration information. So is our SNAP benefits going to come back for residents in December? Is the governor going to cooperate?
I have a statement somewhere. I can say that there's a preliminary injunction in place that was issued, I believe, in the Northern District of California in October that prohibited the information gathering practices relating to SNAP that SNAP was attempting to gather for purposes of immigration enforcement, and that injunction remains in place. Let me see if I can just find this real quick, and I can just provide an answer to the statement. Could you give me just one moment?
Sure. Thank you. Thanks for answering that.
Let me give you, I can start by just giving you the statement. I believe that the governor's statement largely echoed this. This is the statement from the Department of the Attorney General. The state of Hawaii is a party to a lawsuit challenging the USDA's unprecedented demands for states to turn over personal information about SNAP applicants and recipients. This relates to the privacy rights of all of our residents and citizens. On October 15th, a district court issued an order for preliminary injunction enjoining, that is halting, the USDA from withholding SNAP funding based on plaintiff states' noncompliance with demands set forth in earlier letters or otherwise acting on those demands. That injunction remains in effect, and we will continue to take all necessary action to protect the best interests and privacy of the people of Hawaii. And I believe that the governor's statement largely echoed that.
Yeah. How true is it going to be? I mean, is he really going to withhold the SNAP? Can he do that? Do you know?
Again, my understanding is that that statement was just a statement that was made during a meeting. My also understanding is that no official documentation has been received relating to this issue. So it would be very difficult and probably unwise for me to speculate.
Oh, I don't know. He put it on Twitter, and then the next, he put a lot of things on Twitter, and it happened like within a few days.
I understand. And what I can say is that I can assure you that this is something that the Department of the Attorney General, as well as the rest of the government, is very well aware of. We have 23 member states in our coalition, soon to be 24 with the election of the Attorney General of Virginia. And this is something that all of the states are looking at.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions for Governor Green, for Dave Day, his representative? Yes, please go ahead.
Can I address questions about the DLNR to you, or who
Yeah,
should
sure.
I
I mean,
go?
I might not know the answer, but
No,
yeah.
I just to say that well, Chris is going to talk later, but my community is deeply concerned about the condition of Pico Lagoon and the fish pond and the bird sanctuary. It's falling apart. DLNR has not done anything to keep it up. The signage needs to be changed and improved, and somehow we need to enforce the rule about no dogs, because the stilts that usually lay eggs there, they didn't show up again this year because there's too many dogs, too many people. The signage is not sufficient to really scare them, to keep them out, and there's no signage any place that says "do not fish." So I think DLNR needs to be sort of given a kick and say, okay, Pico needs some attention after so long.
Sure, and I am the appropriate person to address that too. I don't have anything further to say other than that I can convey that message to the governor's office so that they're aware of this concern. And so if I can read it back or tell you my understanding of the situation, this concerns the Pico Lagoon and Fish Pond, and it's your sort of what you'd like Governor Green to be
my
aware of.
community faces it and watches out after, and the police force, and keep it clean and everything. So,
But what your concerns specifically relate to the fact that there's insufficient signage, that there's dogs that are allowed to be walked there, and that people are fishing against the rules. Is that correct?
yeah, and the pathway needs to have the ropes replaced. There's no direction for people to stay on the path. It's just all falling apart. So if somebody can come and pay a little attention to it, my community would be very happy.
He said no, that there were the stilts did not.
come back. 2 years ago, we had 4 baby stilts. This time we had no nest, nobody, there was no eggs laid because there's just too many people that use it for a playground. And we call the police all the time to report people, and the DLNR comes sometimes, but not all the time.
So I'm the appropriate person to raise these concerns with, so that they will be raised with the governor's office, and I will pass these concerns along.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Question from Sherry.
Just quickly, I think we've had people come here before, and I think DOFAR, the Division of Forestry, is strangely enough, is also the one dealing with paths, signs, and things like that when we had concerns before. So I think along with DLNR, I don't know if they're a part of DLNR or.
Yes,
but
the DOFA, the Division of Forestry and Wildlife, is a division of DLNR.
Okay, well, I think they're the ones that gets down to, I think.
Well, it ends up with the wildlife people. There's a certain group that used to be responsible, and they used to come quite often and pay attention, but no more.
Yeah, I'm not sure of the exact jurisdiction. DLNR does have a law enforcement arm called DOCARE, which is DOCARE, and they do some of that. But as I understand it, it's your what you'd like me to pass along is they could be doing better. Is that fair? Okay, I can.
Dave, one more question from Kalani. Go ahead, Kalani. Can't hear you.
Just to add to that, the bird sanctuary, people take their dogs there all the time. Just nuts. But yeah, that's another issue with that area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hey, Dave, it's great to see you in person, and we
Thank you. I didn't have daddy-daughter duty tonight, so I was able to come. So, if my daughter was here, she would be in that corner watching K-pop Demon Hunters. So I'm not sure that it would be conducive to a good conversation. But unless there's anything else, I wish you guys a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and everything else. Thank you.
Okay. Council Chair Tommy Waters, Representative Adam Dew. Is Adam with us?
Hi, can you hear me?
I am waiting for Adam Dew.
This is Tasha Luke. Adam is actually enjoying a much deserved vacation today, so I'm filling in for him.
Oh, hi.
Hi. Good evening, Chair and members. Again, I'm Tasha Luke with Council Chair Tommy Waters' office. I just have a few updates this evening. Chair has been in active discussion with Hahayoni Advocates for Respectful Development, or HARD, regarding the James Building in Hawaii Kai. One idea is purchasing the property from Kamehameha Schools and using it to house city operations or possibly as a community center. Nothing concrete has been determined yet. The current lease expires in 2028. Last month, the City Council unanimously approved a new collective bargaining agreement that would grant HPD officers a 27% raise through 2029. This means officers will receive a 5% across-the-board raise each year. Resol 25-284, introduced by Chair, also includes a one-time $1,800 retention bonus in 2026, along with continued employer contributions covering 60% of health premiums and 100% of life insurance coverage. This agreement honors the commitment of our officers while addressing one of HPD's most pressing challenges, recruitment and retention. And lastly, Honolulu Police Department is now required to release certain urgent or emergent information to the media and to the public, such as an alert if there is an active shooter in the community. Bill 46, sponsored by Chair Waters and Councilmember Agitobo, passed out of full council today. The public safety is Chair's highest priority, and he believes that the media plays a critical and essential role in informing the public about situations that could impact the safety of our residents. And with that, I'm happy to take back any questions or concerns to Chair Waters.
Thank you, Tasha.
Hi, Tasha. This is
Hi.
Zorgal. Ginny Johnson had a question. She asked why the city is allowing the tourist shuttle to Honama Bay and the new Roberts buses do not have to view the vital educational video and can bypass the line to get in the bay?
I believe that they do play the videos on the bus while they're driving to Hanama Bay. So that's where they'll see it.
Oh, okay. Bill Kilcoyne has a question.
Yes, you may not be the one to ask this, but any update on the cleaning of Wailupi Stream? I see they've started doing some cosmetic work from bridge number 2 heading up the mountain, and they are finally removing the trees down by bridge number 1. Adam's been a big time supporter of this. Do you have any updates on the cleansing or cleaning of the Wailupi Stream?
I don't have an update tonight, but we can find out and we'll provide an update at next month's meeting.
Any other questions for Chair Waters? Yes, please come on up. Hi, and let everyone know what who you are.
Sure. I'm Jay Hartwell. I'm a resident of Inahaina. At this meeting, I'm not sure if you heard this, Tasha. A lot of concerns have been raised about the Honolulu Marathon's impact on traffic. I don't know if the chair is able to write the marathon committee summarizing the concerns that were presented here, making sure that people can get out when there's breaks in the numbers of runners. If you could do that, or even write a letter to the editor of the newspaper. You talked earlier about the importance of publicity, putting the marathon on notice that as chair of the council, his concerns and our concerns need to be heard. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll bring that back to Chair Waters. Thank you for sharing your concerns.
Any other questions or concerns for Chair Waters? Yes, Andrea Wagner. Please go ahead, Andrea.
Yeah, I just have a question again regarding the stream, the area above Hind Drive Bridge, which was referred to previously as bridge number 2, has been under clearance work since November 20th. Do you have any idea when the material that has been cut will actually be removed from the stream?
I will definitely find out and provide an update.
Thank you. We'd appreciate that.
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead, Doré.
Hi, Duration. We worked with Chair Waters in 2019 to pass the disposable foodware ordinance, which at the time was the most comprehensive single-use plastic ban in the country. There are a lot of compliance issues today, including plastic bags that are illegal with takeout, along with most restaurants not following the compostable requirement for takeout because of distributors essentially lying to restaurants that containers are compostable when they're actually unrecyclable plastic. So I would love just to relay the compliance issues I've been seeing since the ordinance went into effect. And maybe we can get an update from ENV about what the status is of compliance and enforcement, and maybe how our community can support in getting the word out to restaurants and distributors about those issues.
Thank you. I'll bring that up with Chair.
Any other questions for Council Chair Tommy Waters? I don't see any more right now, Tasha. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. And
Thank you so much.
Waters for all that he's doing for our community. He's really been he listens and he goes and fights for us, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Happy holidays.
Hey, happy holidays to you too, Tasha. Do we have a representative for Senator Stanley Chang? No, okay. Is Representative Mark Hashem online? No, okay. I'm happy to now go to our presentations. And first we have Chris Kramer from he is going to give us the Mauna Loa Fish Pond Heritage Center annual update. And for those of you who don't know Chris, he's an educator and historian, as well as the current president of the Mauna Loa Fish Pond Heritage Center. Hi, Chris.
Hey, aloha, Chair Burkert. Good to see you and the board. Yeah, I have our annual Kanewai Spring update for the board. If everyone can, you can see it okay?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so here's our 2025 update. We've been working with, this is kind of some images from the Smithsonian and National Archives. They had a collection of photos from our area. So this is a 1926 photo with the hula dancer Winona Love.
It did it in advance. It's on the first screen.
Oh no. Okay. Is it advancing at all?
No, not going yet. Try go on the next
Oh.
slide.
I think you have to
Did that
click
work?
from beginning in the left corner for us to see it, because right now we're seeing the full window. Oh,
Does that work?
Got it. Try again. Yes.
Okay. So yeah, here's a 1926 photo of Kanewai, the fish pond, and so we've been working with Smithsonian and the National Archives, and one of the projects that we have been doing this year is replacing the Heritage Center roof. So we had a big fundraiser, and wanted to thank the community for all the support. Really, this is the original roof here, and I'll show some pictures later of the progress. Another big project we had this year was ongoing restoration of the fish pond walls, the kuopa. So you can see it's all dry stacked stonework led by Kumukimiona Kane from the Waimanalo Limuhui. So this was before you wouldn't be able to walk on the wall. It was all collapsed, and so that we owe a lot of gratitude to Kumukimiona and his haumana that have been restoring the walls. Another big project and gratitude for this year was we partnered with Waianae High School and Sea Grant. So they donated the infrastructure and the fish for our fish nursery, the pua tanks, so that we can restock our fish ponds and reseed our reefs. And so these fish are the first of hopefully many more to come, but just to bring back the ama, which is the principal fish for Mauna Loa Bay, and since ancient times was raised in our local our fish ponds. So yeah, we're very grateful. On the not so good side, this month our staff found coconut rhinoceros beetle on site for the first time, but they're in our area now, so just asking everybody to please be vigilant. And there's different workshops that we've been holding, but there's a lot of things that the community members can do to be aware and reduce the spread of these pests. And you can see the big puka in what they do, and if you go to the west side or other parts of the island, they've just wrecked all the niu, the coconut trees. So yeah, please be vigilant about that. So here's some of the progress of the Heritage Center re-roofing, and it's been a huge endeavor, taking many years to get to this point. So we appreciate the community's support, and here you can see some of the sheeting being done, and here's another photo looking up Malka. So that roof was very, very bad shape. So it's really great to see the new roof coming on, and all the old stuff being ripped off. So yeah, that's a little update for 2025. We ask for your continued support. We're gonna have another fundraiser in the spring, so folks can join the effort, and we can visit our website, maunalufishpond.org. And the last item that I wanted to mention is we had some serious accidents between Pico Drive and Kuli'ou'ou Road. So we're asking the DOT to take a look at that stretch of highway, and we'd like to work with the DOT to make it safer for the community, because there's been a number of very serious incidents there, and we just want to make sure that that area can be safe for the community and the schools that come to the fish ponds. So yeah, that's what we have for today.
Mahalo, Chris. Thank you for all your work in bringing these special places back to us. Regarding the accidents in this area of Kalani, I'd like to work with you on this between now and February and see if we can get a DOT to come to our February meeting. But let's discuss this more offline. It is an important concern. Does anyone
Thank you, Chair.
have questions for Chris Kramer regarding the Mauna Lua fish tank? I mean, the Heritage Center and the projects that he is overseeing.
No, I just want to thank him for all that work, but I think if you want DOT to help you solve traffic dangers or problems out there, if you could help identify what that is exactly, if you have identified what's actually happening, it would really help them a lot to be further along in helping you. Thanks a lot.
Sure.
So any questions for Chris? Okay. So Chris, did you hear what Kevin mentioned about, the dogs and lack of signage in Pico, around Pico?
Yes, that's definitely an issue that's needs addressing.
Okay.
We used to have under the previous manager for that area, we had they really were worked closely with us, and then we haven't had so much that former administrator or manager retired, and so we haven't had as much contact with the new DOFA folks that are working there.
Okay. Well, thank you again, and we wish you a mele kaliki maka and hope you get some time off. We know you're always working very hard, and take care of yourself. And we look forward to hearing what is planned for what's going to be under that new roof.
Yeah, lots of good things for the community to gather and so yeah, very exciting.
All right. Thank you again, Chris.
Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, we're going to have a presentation on another invasive, not coconut rhinoceros beetle, but the little fire ants. I don't know if that applies. Hey, Chris, have you found any little fire ants in your area?
No.
Oh, good.
Not yet. Or
okay, good. Good.
hopefully not ever.
Yeah, I know. Okay. I'd like to welcome Melody. And Melody, please tell us, pronounce your last name for us. Melody is a specialist on invasive ant species. She is presenting to us via WebEx, and she actually lives in Hilo, where the ant lab is for the University of Hawaii, and she will be talking to us about everything having to do with little fire ants. Are
Yeah.
you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, great. Yeah, so my last name, I know, tricky to pronounce, but it's Paradorn. It's a Thai last name. Okay, yes, well, mahalo for having me here today. So yes, I'm with the Hawaii Ant Lab. I am the extension specialist. And here's just a little overview. I'm gonna try to move a little quickly. I know your time is limited, but I'm just gonna explain a little bit first about who the Hawaii Ant Lab is, and then go over just a quick overview of their biology, and then go into what the status is in Aina Haina and in Oahu in general. And then I'm going to tell you how to survey your own properties for little fire ants. And then we'll talk quickly a little bit about prevention, and then also touch a little bit about treatment.
Melody, you have all the time you need because we're ahead of time tonight.
Oh, okay, great. Okay,
You,
well,
you
then
need 15 minutes, right? I think you said.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Okay,
go
I'll
ahead.
slow it down so I'm not talking so fast then. Okay,
Okay.
perfect. Okay, so who the hell is Hal? Okay, we are the Hawaii Ant Lab. We are a program of the University of Hawaii. We have 3 offices. I'm part of the main office in Hilo, and then we also have an office in Oahu in Waimanalo at the CTAR station.
Melody, we can't see your slides.
You can't see my slides. What
You
is
see a blank.
Okay, how do we tackle? I said I'm sharing my Microsoft PowerPoint. Okay, I'm gonna just share, let's see, I'm gonna try sharing my whole screen. No, that
works.
Do you see my first slide where it says little fire ants?
Yep. What?
Just your background, so no.
Yeah, so then what is, okay, let's try again. I'm so unfamiliar with WebEx. I am more familiar with Zoom. Let's see, sharing my screen. Okay, let me come out of my PowerPoint. See if I can. That's weird. Yeah, it just shows my background. Does anybody have any tips for how to make your PowerPoint show up? The last presenter, what was your trick?
Just to use it. Yeah, it wouldn't advance for some reason, so I just displayed it, shared it, and then displayed it off the off the screen. But
I don't know. I'd say I'm sharing my screen, but then when I go to share my screen, it's just blank. No, this will be disappointing if I can't share my slides. It'll be a big old bummer because then you won't see all the
Are you
things I need to share.
optimized for text and images when you share? Or is it on
Am,
video?
am I optimized? Okay, how does one optimize for images?
If you go to share and then it'll say, what do you want to share? Text and images or motion and video. So click text and images.
Okay, let's see. When I go to share, it's like when I press the share button, it just has a multiple. It says I have a various apps open and it's asking me to which one I can show, but it doesn't say whether I want a text or show me in front, show my WebEx app. Maybe take off my WebEx app, include computer sound, automatically adjust. Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's funky.
That is it because it's a Mac?
Could be, yeah,
We
could
know
be.
Macs. How about, do you guys, I gave you guys a copy of my PDF. Did you guys share that?
Can you tell them to share them?
Okay, stop sharing for a minute.
Okay.
It might be worth logging off and logging back in. I had an issue with WebEx the other day and that fixed my issue, but
okay.
That's just anecdotal, but
there you go.
Hey. Okay, yeah, that's the PDF. Okay. Oh, that was better. Okay, I'll tell you when to switch. Oh, no, see, that's not my whole screen. Can you zoom? It's too zoomed in. Yeah, you see that percentage? If you can go out. Okay, we'll go on one more. Okay, let's leave it at there. Perfect. Okay, yeah, so that was my intro slide. Okay, we can move it along. Next slide, please.
I think
Oh,
you
I
gotta
guess you just have to
scroll.
scroll down. Yeah, just scroll. Oh no, it changed orientation. Can you, oh, there we go. Okay, so scrolling down to the next, okay, that was just my little overview, but we can skip that through that now. Next slide, please. Scroll down. And this was the who the hell is hell, and where I said we had our 3 offices and our Oahu office is in Waimanalo at the CTAR Center. Okay, and then sliding down. Okay, so now here's our website. If you're curious to find out more about little fire ants, how to prevent them, how to survey for them, how to control for them, it's like a wealth of information, and there's lots of handouts and videos as well. So it's just littlefireants.com. It's pretty easy to remember. Thank you. Next slide, please. Okay, so here's where I'm going to cover a little biology of little fire ants, because before we skip right into how to survey for them, you got to know their biology a little bit. You got to know what we're working with, who's our enemy. And so first off, I like to point out that not all fire ants are created equal. When I talk to residents in Hilo about little fire ants, they know what I'm talking about. But when I'm talking to residents on Oahu, Maui, and Kauai, and I warn them, do not become like Big Island. You don't want to be overrun by little fire ants as we are here. So it's like everyone should survey their properties at least once a year. When I warn them, the usual response I get is that, oh, fire ants, the red ants, oh gosh, we've had that since I was a kid. I've been stung with them since back in the day. They're not such a big deal. And so what they're talking about is a different fire ant. They're talking about this middle species here in the middle, the tropical fire ant, often referred to as the red ant. And so, yeah, the tropical fire ant has been in Hawaii since the 1800s. And yeah, they sting you, but they usually sting you up and down your legs, So they nest on the ground, and so like when you're like on Moana Beach Park, right? That's a common place to be stung by tropical fire ants. But we're not as concerned about that species. It doesn't get to the sheer numbers that little fire ants do. Okay, and then common misconception too when I'm talking about little fire ants, people think if you have lived on the mainland, like in Texas and the southern part of the mainland, people think we're talking about the red imported fire ant. That's a whole other species that we are very, very fortunate that has not established here in Hawaii. This is a species that we are terrified about establishing here. The species, the red imported fire ant, it causes billions of dollars of damage annually a year on the mainland. It's a really aggressive ant species that sting horribly and make life miserable, in places like Texas. But, luckily we don't have that species. But if you do come across an aggressive species, a really aggressive ant species that stings you, please report it. Okay, but what we are talking about is little fire ants. They're a not aggressive species. They're just this little small little ant. So next slide, please. So to focus on little fire ants. First off, they're one of the world's 100 worst invasive species. And that's not just for ants, that's for all plants and animals. Second, they are the most invasive ant species that we have here in Hawaii, right? All ants are not native to Hawaii. We have over 60 species that have come here one way or another, and little fire ants are the worst of the worst. Okay, and then third, they are native to Central and South America, and last, they were first detected on Big Island in 1999 at a plant nursery. And so this particular nursery got shipments of palm plants from Florida, and so that's how we think we got them. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so how do we identify little fire ants? So if you're in your yard or in your house and you see an ant crawl by, if you're wondering, hey, is this a little fire ant? Okay, so to the naked eye, what you can see is that they are uniformly reddish brown in color. So if you see an ant that's like half red, half black, that's not a little fire ant. Second, they're tiny. They're really tiny. They're about 1/16 inch in length, which means that they're about as long as a penny stick. And then third, another telltale sign is that they're relatively slow moving. So if you see an ant, just like erratically walking back and forth, that's probably not a little fire ant. But it's a little tricky to say, what's slow moving to me may mean something a little differently to you. But in general, they're just walking around, chugging along pretty slowly. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so usually in my PowerPoint presentation, there's a lot of clicks and these things come on one by one. But pretty much with this slide is showing you that where little fire ants nest. So in other ant species like the red imported fire ant, right, that bigger, badder species that we're afraid of establishing here, they build like ant mounds, right? But little fire ants don't build mounds. Instead, they're just really opportunistic and they just set up a nest in just open little voids and little pukas in shady and moist spots. So like underneath this plant pot, underneath this rock, like underneath. Okay, so you can't see where I'm pointing at. I figured that now. Okay, and then underneath the moss, like going up this coconut tree. That's a shame that you can't see where I'm pointing. Yeah, and then all the way at the tippy tops of trees. So that's what makes them, so unfortunate is that, right, they're nesting everywhere from the ground all the way to the tippy tops of the trees. And then each colony can contain multiple queens. And then when it comes for spreading, we're really lucky in the fact that in that red imported fire ant species, that other species, when they go to mate and spread, they fly high up. The queen and the male will fly high up into the air. And then they'll mate high up in the sky, and then they'll fly away, sometimes miles away, the newly mated queen, to set up a nest. But we're really lucky. Little fire ants, although the queens have wings, they don't fly. They mate just inside the nest, and then it's not until the nest is getting too crowded that they just take a few workers, and then she'll just move along to the next, a few feet away to the next available puka to set up a nest. Okay, next slide, please. But okay, although they're slow moving, and the queens don't fly, their nest densities can get so high. And that's because Okay, in other ant species, when you have two colonies, right next to each other, and the workers see each other in the field, like say looking for food, when they see each other, they'll battle each other, right? But instead, little fire ants, no, they're just one big happy family. They're actually all genetically related. So when they see each other, they don't battle each other. They actually share resources and battle predators, with each other. And so really, they're all interconnected. And so when you're out there battling little fire ants, you're not battling one little colony here and one little colony there. You're actually battling one giant super colony. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, and so because, right, their nest densities can get so high, they can have multiple queens per colony. Each queen can produce about 7 eggs a day. The number, in an area where there's lots of nesting habitat and it's nice and moist, their numbers can get so bad. And there are areas in Lower Puna, like, ground zero, where they first became established, where you look at the ground and it's just a moving carpet of little fire ants. And you look at the vegetation around, next to you, and it's just dripping with little fire ants. And so in an average square meter, which is what, just 3 feet by 3 feet, you can have up to 20,000 workers, which is pretty crazy. And then 36 to 77 queens. Next slide, please. Okay, and then if you multiply that out for an average house lot, say like a 1/4 acre house lot, that's 22 million little fire ants. Okay, next slide. Okay, and then people often ask, okay, oh my goodness, all right, these guys sound awful. Well, how fast do they spread? And then we like to joke and say it's 55 miles per hour in the back of your pickup truck because they are so darn easy to spread. Next slide, please. Because they're so tiny, right? An entire colony can fit in a magnet shell. And you only need to move a queen and a few of her workers to start a new colony. Okay, next slide, please. And there are so many pathways for moving little fire ants. It's so easy to move them, but here are some common pathways. Number one, potted plants, right? We're all familiar, right? Little fire ants moving on potted plants, but you can even move them out on just cuttings. You don't even need the potted plant itself. Even on produce, right? We've seen little fire ants nesting like in between like a cluster of rambutan or on a coconut. On pallets, which is an unfortunate thing, we monitor different ports of entry and we find them nesting on pallets, which is unfortunate because pallets are moving everywhere. And then rubbish, pretty much anything sitting outside in a little fire infested area can harbor nests. So even on bee boxes, getting a delivery of mulch, gravel, and soil, what great ways to get little fire ants. Household items, even on construction material. There's a new site on Kauai that a new infestation that was just discovered. And there was a house that got delivery of roofing material. And guess what? The guy installing the roofing material luckily was from Big Island. And he was being stung and saw the small red ants, and he knew what he was looking for since he lived in Puna. And he immediately reported it. So be wary. And even in vehicles, right? So any vehicle that's been sitting for some time on in a yard with little fire ants can harbor a nest. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so here are all the reasons, some of the reasons why you should care, or why you should fear little fire ants spreading throughout Oahu and coming onto your property. Number one is their painful stings. So little fire ants have this really unfortunate behavior where when they sense danger, they just let go, right? They're not an aggressive species. They don't come running after you to sting you. But the reason why you usually get stung is that you're usually like picking a fruit above your head or cutting some vegetation above your head, or even really the wind blowing. During that time, for some reason, the little fire ants, when slightly disturbed, they just let go and then they usually drop into your shirt. So you're usually stung. A telltale sign of being stung by little fire ants is being stung around the neck in your shirt, inside your shirt. And then when you get stung, it's like this burning sensation and it feels itchy. But you know, obviously that varies from one person to the next. So if you have little fire ants in your yard, right, picking fruit above your head, trimming trees above your head, it's not as much fun. And also kids, right, unable to enjoy outdoor activities, right? My kids are always wary of climbing a tree. They always check before they climb a tree. And then, you know, even if somebody says, well, what do I care? Because, you know, I don't spend much time outdoors. You know, I'm mostly inside my house. I don't work in my yard. But guess what? When little fire ants start exhausting resources outside, they start coming indoors. And so we have plenty of people who call us all the time at their wits' end because the little fire ants are coming in. They're being stung on their couches, in their beds. And then hiking in the forest becomes way more unpleasant, right? Because as you brush across vegetation, you can get stung. And then lastly, this last little photo at the bottom right is, you know, a popular surfing spot in Hilo at Honolulu. And guess what? Little fire ants float. They float because they have these little hairs on them that trap little air bubbles, allows them to float. And so you're not even safe in the water. And people also complain about being stung in their pools. Yes, please, next slide. Okay, so they're a pest for humans, but they're also unfortunately a pest for animals. You know, their little fire ants are oil-loving ants, and so they're attracted to the, you know, to the dog food or cat food and left in the bowls. And so our pets can also be stung. And then the really sad and unfortunate part is a common sight on the Big Island is our beloved, you know, dogs and cats who have partial blindness because of little fire ants. So this cat right here was probably walking around some vegetation that had some little fire ants. And then, you know, some little fire ants were on its, you know, brushed against some vegetation, got some little fire ants on its fur. And then the little fire ants are attracted to the moisture in the cat's eyes, and repeated stings to the eyes lead to this what looks like cataracts, and unfortunately it's irreversible. My two cats have this partial blindness as well, although I treat, you know, my cats are roaming around and but my neighbors don't treat, and so as a result they unfortunately have that clouding of the eyes. Okay, next slide. Okay, what is the current status of little fire ants in Oahu? Next slide, please. Current known infestation. So this was updated in June 2025, and there are over, it's unfortunate, there are over 100 infestations at the moment on Oahu. But we break down the infestations into 3 categories. You see the dots colored in red are all the active infestations. So those are ones that are either being waited to be treated or are currently being treated. And then the yellow dots are the ones in monitoring. So those are ones that have undergone treatments, but we are continuing to survey them to make sure that the little fire ants are gone, because they don't turn to the green dot, which is eradicated, until we have surveyed for 3 whole years and have not found any little fire ants. And that's the only time that we will label it eradicated. Okay, please. Okay, so if you are curious, want to see like the latest map, you know, and then you want to see the latest map, and there's this website called stoptheant.org, and they're under the tab, they have a tab called Island Updates, and then you can click on Oahu, and so you'll see you can find a general map for the whole island, and then they even break it down per section for each part of the island. So that's a great resource. Next slide, please. But what I wanted to focus on today was Aina Haina. Aina Haina, unfortunately, has a growing number of infestations. We currently have 4 infestations. The first one, Aina Haina 1, is below the highway, and that one was detected. You know, by the way, the reason why we're detecting any of these infestations, it's because there's a concerned resident that heard our messaging and were being stung and then sent in their samples to be identified, their ant samples. And so in September 2020, we had some residents submit ants, and so that was an infestation. That one was treated and is under monitoring. We actually just went out there, I think this yesterday. Our Oahu crew went out there and didn't find any little fire ants. So they're doing great. Okay, and then Aina 2 was detected in June 2024. That one was delimited. So when we find out, when a resident submits a ants and they are positive for little fire ants, then we need to do this whole procedure of going, okay, so we know you're positive for little fire ants, but what about all your neighbors? How widespread is this infestation? And then it becomes the really challenging part of my job, where I then have to cold call and knock on doors and mail letters to all the residents. We cast a wide net around the positive. And so if we have one positive, typically we cast a net about 20 properties around it to see how many of these properties have little fire ants. And so with Aina 2, the population was delimited and it's under treatment. Department of Ag is the lead organization with Aina 2, and so it's currently being treated. And then we have Aina 3. So that one is an unfortunate one because that one, okay, so it was first detected in 2024. And then it took us a while to get us out there, but then once we got out there, we went not too long ago to do a survey there, and we found out, oh my goodness, there's lots of little fire ants along this canal here. What is the name of that canal? Do you consider a canal or?
Guadalupe Stream.
Guadalupe Stream. Okay, Guadalupe Stream. Yes. So unfortunately, pretty much all the houses we surveyed, quite a number of them, and they all had little fire ants, and there seems to be most of them had little fire ants in their backyards, and so we're like, oh my goodness, the stream must be infested with little fire ants. And then remember how I said that little fire ants float in the water, and so with that Aina 3 infestation, any of the properties going all the way down to the ocean are in threat of being infested with little fire ants. Once it starts to rain and that Guadalupe River starts to flow, any of those properties can be in danger, of being infested. And so we surveyed a bunch of properties and then found out, okay, wow, we don't know the limits of this infestation. We don't know the edges of the infestation. So we sent out more letters and have done more calling to get more permissions to allow us to cast a wider net to see if we can find the edge. But this is where I'm asking if you know someone. Well, pretty much I like to encourage everybody, doesn't matter where you live, should survey their property at least once a year. And then particularly if you live in Aina, and then most importantly, if you live on this Guadalupe Stream, to please survey your property. And so, we currently have, we're gonna survey 12 more properties. We've only been able to get a hold of 6 of them. So I'd like to express how challenging it is to get permission to come and survey. A lot of times we have to cold call people and then we have to convince them that we're not a scam and that we're a program of the University of Hawaii. This is a free service. And a lot of times people hang up or so it is quite challenging. So I encourage everyone to spread the word about Little Fire Ants and what our efforts are and who we are. And that if you get that call from us, to please believe us and please allow us to come onto your property to do a survey. Okay, and so then Aina 4 is a fourth one that was detected in May 2025. That one has not been delimited and is on the docket to be delimited in the future. But we're working with it's not just the Hawaii Lab, we're working in collaboration with the Department of Ag and the Oahu Invasive Species Committee There, as you can see from that, that other map, there's lots of infestations, so we can't be everywhere and anywhere, but we're trying to work our hardest and as fast as we can to get properties under treatment. Okay, sorry, next slide. Okay, so I just want to say, okay, so how does one survey for little fire ants on the property? It's pretty easy. You just need peanut butter and some sticks, it could be a chopstick, it could be popsicle sticks. If you don't have any sticks on hand, don't worry. Just take that Amazon cardboard box that you got delivered recently, cut it into strips, and then apply some peanut butter on there. It's nice to have some Ziploc bags as well. If you want to spray paint some of those sticks so that it's easy to find again, you can do that. Okay, next slide. Okay, and then you need to apply peanut butter on that stick. And we beg you to just put a very thin smear. You put it in the peanut butter jar and then you wipe up most of the peanut butter off. They're just tiny little fire ants. They don't need much peanut butter. Please don't send us little fire sticks with a glob of peanut butter. It's very challenging for us to identify ants stuck in a glob of peanut butter. Okay, next slide. Okay, so how does one survey their property? It's very easy, It takes a little bit over an hour. So pretty much you start at one corner of your property, and then every 30 feet, which is 12 steps for me, every 12 steps, I put down a stick. And so you should, when you choose to put down that peanut butter stick, please choose a shady, moist, a shady spot for it. Little fire ants don't generally like it out in the sun. So you're gonna walk around the perimeter of your property, and then once you walk around the perimeter, you're gonna walk around around the inside of your property, following the vegetation and around your house. And then you leave it out for 1 hour. Just 1 hour is all you need. You leave it out for 1 hour, and then next slide. And then you go to pick up your sticks. If you see ants on your stick, pick it up gently and then place it in a Ziploc bag and try to keep each stick separate in their own Ziploc bag. And then label where you picked up that stick. Say that stick was underneath a mango tree, then label it mango tree. The idea is that you keep your sticks separate, because if you put all your sticks in one bag and only 2 of them had little fire ants, it's good to know, like, but wait, where are those little fire ants on my property? Okay, next slide. Okay, and so then we like to say, don't ever assume that if you have small little red ants on that stick that it is a little fire ant. There are a few other species that are super common that are small and red, just like little fire ants. So next slide. So we like to say, please submit your ants for identification. It's very easy to send them in. All you have to do is, once you put your sticks in a Ziploc bag, make sure to freeze it, because you don't want to send in live ants. And then mail them in to us. You can either mail them in or you can drop them off. Make sure to include your contact information. And then if you choose to mail your sticks with ants, we always encourage you to, after you've frozen it, take the sticks out of the bag so that you're not mailing rigid items in your envelope, because once you start mailing rigid items in your envelope, the post office charges you up the wazoo to send it. So take the sticks out and you can either mail them in or bring them in. Next slide. So on Oahu, currently Oahu Invasive Species Committee is taking in samples. You can either drop it off to them. They're in Manaviui. You can either drop it off to them or mail them into us, mail them into them, or you can always choose to mail them to our Hilo office as well. Okay, next slide. Okay, so I just want to quickly, go. Okay, people always ask, but wait, what if little fire ants are found on my property? But talking about prevention first before we go into treatment. So we always encourage, surveying your property at least once a year. And secondly, if you buy a plant, if you get a delivery of mulch, if you get a delivery of construction materials, if your neighbor gives you a rack of bananas, you should quarantine it. The idea of quarantining it is finding a place in your yard that's well away from vegetation. So if something crawls off your plant, it doesn't go right onto, to this bush right here. So you find a quarantine area, you put new items in here let it sit for an hour, and then put a peanut butter stick in there, and then test it before you spread that mulch, before you integrate that plant onto your property. So you can either use it to do that. Some people use put their plants like in a bucket with soapy water at the bottom as a way of if something crawls off your potted plant, it ends up in the soapy water and dies. But I just want to say too, don't ever take for granted that, oh, I bought a potted plant from this big box store. They can't have little fire ants. I'm sure they're good. Never think that just because you bought it from a big box store or you think some nursery that is a trusted nursery, you should always check. Always check. Okay, next slide. Okay, so people ask, okay, but wait, so little fire ants on my property, how does one treat it? It's all about ant baits. We're lucky in that ant baits is the first line of treatment. They're really effective, and they have a really minimal amount of pesticide in there. Ant baits are mostly made up of food. They mostly come in granulars, right? And then you put the granulars out, they think it's food, they feed on it, and they bring it back to the nest. Next slide. And in the world of ant baits, there's two types of ant baits. There's a toxic ant bait so if they feed on it, bring it back to the nest, they die after a couple days. And there's also insect growth regulator baits where they feed on it, they share it with the nest, and then instead of killing them, because it's non-toxic, it acts as a birth control for the queen. Next slide. So what is the current treatment plan for these residents in Nainaina? Well, first of all, for the ground treatment, they're putting these granulars on the ground, these toxic granular bait on the ground. And then for the trees, because remember, little fire ants are not just on the ground, but they're at the tippy tops of trees. So in order to actually eradicate the little fire ants, you got to treat three-dimensionally. So they put granulars on the ground, and then they're going to spray bait onto the trees. It's this gel bait, which is non-toxic, so it allows you to spray it onto any fruit trees. And then, unfortunately, treating for little fire ants is not a one-and-done treatment. You have to treat every 6 weeks for an entire year. Okay, next slide. Okay, but we are really lucky in that the Department of Ag received $1.1 million in funding from the state ledge last year. And how Department of Ag decided to use that funding was to contract terminate. So if a property is positive for little fire ants, we are working in collaboration. So once again, if somebody sends in a positive sample for little fire ants, they go out or we go out and we do that wide casting net where we survey the entire neighborhood to try to find where the little fire ants, the edges of the infestation. Once the edges of the infestation are delimited, then they contract Terminix to come out every 6 weeks. And so I just want to say how lucky you guys are on Big Island, where little fire ants are widespread. If you have little fire ants in your property, tough luck. You have to treat it yourself. And treating for little fire ants is both expensive and time consuming. But you guys are so lucky on Oahu right now. There is that funding, and it will, the funds won't be there forever. So please take advantage of it now. Okay, next slide. And we're done. Okay, mahalo. So if you have any questions, feel free to call our Hilo number at 808-315-5656. And then my email is info@littlefireants. Okay, does anybody have any questions?
Yes, we have at least several questions. I have one too.
I bet we do, yes. Two quick ones. Christmas trees, is that going to be an issue? And my
Well,
second one is Wailupi Stream is now being worked on. It's full of vegetation. It runs from the mountain to the ocean. And they're currently cutting down the trees, the bushes. That could be a real issue, spreading the fire ants, in my opinion.
so yeah, okay, Christmas trees. Well, Christmas trees come from the mainland, and yeah, I always encourage people to buy a local Christmas tree because right. That's how we got yellow jackets in Hawaii, is from the Christmas trees from the mainland. So, but there is not, not the worry typically of little fire ants coming on the Christmas trees, because they're not coming. So little fire ants are typically, in like Florida and where Christmas trees are not coming from. Okay, and then yes, okay, about the vegetation being cut at the Wailupa stream. So hopefully that vegetation is being brought to the green waste centers where they turn it to mulch. So, we always tell residents, okay, if you have little fire ants on your property, but you want to cut back some vegetation, we typically say, you should probably treat it a couple times before you haul it away. But, once it's hauled away, at least for the green waste vegetation at residential properties, right? It's going to the county facilities where they turn it into compost, actually. And so that heat that's created from the composting process will kill the little fire ants. Okay, next question.
Kalani? Kalani, you're on.
Thank you. I have a few things. Thank you for that presentation. It's super important. I did. How long is our presentation supposed to go, Chair?
Usually we go 5, but hers, she had a number of things she wanted to present to us and teach us about, and so she asked for more time, and we did have more time. So, but usually each presenter is 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'm only bringing it up because we've had issues, right? We've had butting heads in our meeting because of time limits being put on people. So I'm going to remember this, and I'm not saying this wasn't important. This was super important. But then this is where we get into difficulties when you give one presentation extra time and then you cut off other presentations. So I'm just bringing that up. Also, I want to share that it's not Aina Haina, it's actually Wailupe. So we need, and then also it's not Hawaii Kai, it's Mauna Lua. Let's start using the correct terminologies for this place. Please. Thank you. That's all.
Cool, thanks. I appreciate that, since I'm on Big Island and not so familiar with the names.
Okay, any questions related to little fire ants? Well, Melody, thank you so much for sharing what you know, and now we can start looking for them, I guess. I get what I'm concerned that the vegetation that is being cut in the stream is being carried from one Lupe stream to the other. And
that could be a problem.
And that it will be a source of spread of red fire ants, because one of the areas you mentioned or you showed us on the map is an area that's being worked on, and so I'm not sure what can be done about that, but it's something that we will be thinking about. But we appreciate so much you speaking to us tonight.
Sure, thank you for having me.
We wish you happy holidays, and may you not get bitten by a little fire ant. We wish you
I wish you all the
very
same.
quiet Christmas, and hope all your kids can play outside in peace, and your cats too.
Thank you. I appreciate those wishes.
All right, thank you and good night. Closing announcements. This board recesses in January and will next meet in February. Thank you everyone who took the time out to be with us tonight and to let us know what's going on in your community. Please be safe and have a wonderful Christmas and New Year's.
Same to all.
This meeting is now adjourned.